The steel blade dug into my throat, but the terror in my husband's eyes hurt far worse. We were trapped, at the mercy of a madman who demanded a blood sacrifice, one life for another. My husband didn't even blink. He stepped forward, his face battered and bleeding, and offered himself in my place. I screamed, begging him not to be a fool, sobbing that I wasn't worth it. But he just looked at me with a tragic smile, a gaze filled with a love so deep it shattered my soul. He whispered that I would be safe, that I was going home. Then, he took the knife, and with one swift, horrifying motion, he ended his life to save mine. I watched his body hit the floor, my entire world collapsing into silence. I crawled to him, desperate to hold on to a warmth that was already fading. With his final breath, he asked if I could love him in the next life. I couldn't bear a single second in a world without him. I picked up the weapon stained with his sacrifice and vowed to find him on the other side. Darkness swallowed us both. I gasped, lungs burning as I sucked in air. My eyes snapped open to blinding sunlight. I was in a hospital, but the calendar on the wall was wrong. It was years ago, the first year of our marriage. Fate had given me a second chance. Just then, he walked in. Whole, I launched myself at him, weeping with relief, promising to love him properly this time, to never let him go. What? But he froze. His hands didn't hold me by, they pushed me away with a force that chilled my blood. He looked at me with disgust, telling me to have some self-respect. The man who died for me was gone, replaced by this cold, unfeeling stranger. He gripped my wrist, reminding me our marriage was just a business deal, that he loved his secretary, not me. My mind reeled. How could the same soul be so cruel? Then came the nightmare. His mistress needed a liver transplant immediately, and the only match was my mother. He wasn't asking. I rushed to the hallway, seeing men in black dragging my mother away. I screamed, fought, clawed at them, but he stood there, ruthless, ordering them to butcher my family for his lover. I fell to my knees, begging him to remember us, but he looked down at me like trash. Claiming he never loved me, he left me broken on the floor. My father found me there, and we decided to leave, to divorce this monster and vanish. I walked into traffic, numb, hoping for an end to turnover. He was there scolding me for staging an accident for attention. He ordered his assistant to bring food. The assistant opened a container. Seafood porridge, my husband's voice snapped.
你不知道他海鲜过敏啊
Time stopped. My blood ran cold.
上一次明明是结婚第2年，我无时休克了才知道的。现在是第1年，我从来都没有告诉过他。
I whispered the question that terrified me most. Did you come back too? You're insane, he scoffed, dismissing my question with a wave of his ha. But that was a lie. My mother was in critical condition. She couldn't even speak. I tried to corner him with the truth, but he just looked at me with that same dead-eyed stare. Stop making scenes, he spat, before walking out and leaving me alone with my confusion. My heart hardened. If he wanted to play the villain, I would grant him his wish. I marched to his office with divorce papers in hand. Only 4 days left until I could escape this hell. The sight made me retch. He was on his knees, tenderly massaging his mistress's foot, treating her like a queen while he treated me like a parasite. He didn't even read the papers, he just signed them. Erasing our marriage with a stroke of his pen, I refused to leave quietly. I followed them to a high-stakes auction, hoping to find a shred of the man I once loved. Or maybe just to haunt him. A rare blue diamond necklace came up for bidding. I whispered that I liked it, testing him, hoping he might remember us. He bid millions of specifics, stating it was for her. When I tried to object, he raised his hand for an unlimited bid. He burned a fortune just to humiliate me in public. But then, the screens flickered. The auction item changed. It wasn't a jewel, but a scandalous photo of his mistress exposed to the entire room. She screamed, denying it, and his eyes snapped me. Instant accusation. You did this, he growled, ignoring my pleas of innocence. Now, I'm trapped in a nightmare. Strapped to a metal chair in a dark warehouse, the man who once died to save me is now the one holding the switch. He demands a confession for a crime I didn't commit. Admit it, he roars, pointing at the machine hooked to my skin. I scream that I'm innocent, but he signals the guard. The dial turns. Agony. Pure, white-hot agony tears through my nerves. My body convulses uncontrollably as the electricity fries my senses. I can smell the ozone, feel my muscles tearing. Stop! I beg, my voice breaking. Please, husband. But he doesn't flinch. The agony of the electric chair finally dragged me into darkness. When I opened my eyes, I was back in a hospital bed. My husband was sitting there, holding my hand, looking at me with eyes full of concern. For a split second, my heart fluttered. Had he finally remembered? Was the torture just a nightmare? But then the door opened, and my hope shattered. His mistress walked in, glowing and triumphant. The tenderness in his eyes vanished instantly, replaced by that cold, dead stare. He wasn't there to comfort me. He was there to demand I apologize to her. He accused me of leaking those photos, and said if I wanted to prove my sincerity, I had to cook for her, personally. I stood by the table, my body still trembling from the shocks, chopping vegetables while she watched like a queen. She leaned in close, whispering that the soup wasn't spicy enough. Suddenly, she grabbed my wrist and threw herself backward, screaming as if I had poured the boiling broth on her. He burst into the room. He didn't ask what happened. He didn't check the facts. He just saw his lover's crocodile tears. "You like burning people," he roared, grabbing my wrist in a vice grip. He dragged me to the bubbling pot, the squid, until the heat consumed my skin, and he threw me aside like garbage. That was it, the final ember of my love for him. Extinguished. My parents arrived the next day. My mother wept over my bandaged, blistered hand. My father shook with rage, cursing the man I once worshipped. We made a pact. In 2 days, the divorce papers would be ready to leave this life and never look back. But I had one last goodbye to make. His grandfather, the only person in this cursed family who ever treated me with kindness. I went to the old mansion, hiding my injuries. The old man banged his cane, swearing he would never let that poisonous woman cross his threshold. He promised to protect me. I felt a moment of peace, a finally safe harbor, until a shadow fell across the floor. She was standing there. She hasn't just stolen my husband. Now she's come for the only family I have left. I walked into a scene straight from hell. My husband's mistress, pressing a pillow over my grandfather's face, suffocating the only person in this family who protected me. I lunged at her, tearing her away from him. She threw herself to the floor the moment the door opened, weeping fake tears. "She tried to kill him," she shrieked, pointing an accusing finger at me. My husband didn't ask questions. He didn't look for truth. He saw his lover crying and decided I was a murderer. "You viper," he roared, his hands closing around my throat in the hospital hallway after the doctor declared grandfather a vegetable storage. He blamed me, accusing me of venting my anger on a helpless old man because he refused to grant us a divorce. But his cruelty knew no bottom. He had my parents kidnapped, dragging them to that abandoned warehouse, dangling them over a precipice. Admit you tried to kill him, or they die, at the man I once died for, and my spirit finally broke. "It was me," I screamed, lying through my tears. "I did it, just let them go." I kowtowed on the dirty concrete, smashing my forehead against the ground until I tasted blood, sacrificing my honor to save my family. He looked at me with absolute disgust. "Get lost," he spat. "Leave the country and never come back." I stood in the cold night air, watching the flames of my lighter consume the last photo of us, watching his face turn to ash. It was over. I was leaving this cursed life behind. But while I sat at the airport, awaiting my flight to freedom, the truth finally clawed its way out. Back at the hospital, the mistress stood over my grandfather's silent body, gloating on the phone. She laughed about her victory, confessing everything to the empty room. I staged the car accident. I leaked the photos. I burned myself. I framed her. She bragged. Thinking she had won, she didn't hear the footsteps stop outside the door. She didn't see the shadow freeze. My husband stood there, his hand hovering over the handle, his face draining of color as every lie he believed crumbled into dust. He heard it all. The door slammed open, and my husband's wrath finally descended on the right person. He dragged his mistress out of the hospital room, deaf to her excuses. "I heard everything," he roared, dragging her to the airport to force an apology. He thought he could fix this, that he could just say sorry and I would come running back, but he was too late. His bodyguard handed him the only thing I left behind, a red booklet, our divorce certificate. He stood there, staring at the document that severed our ties forever, vowing to fly to Paris and drag me back. But fate had one final cruel joke to play on him. The airport screens flashed red. Breaking news. Flight QC 587 to Paris crashed, no survivors. I watched his world disintegrate. The color drained from his face. He grabbed his assistant, shaking him, begging for it to be a mistake. "She didn't board," he screamed. "Tell me she didn't board." But the staff handed him a death certificate with my name on it. He collapsed on the stairs. The man who once treated me like air, now gasping for breath as if he were drowning, he clutched the paper to his chest, weeping like a child. And in that moment of total despair, the ghosts of our past came to haunt him. He remembered 3 years ago, the meals I cooked that he ignored. He remembered the scar on my hand, the one he dismissed back then. But now kisses? In his imagination, he remembered my voice, soft and hopeful, asking him for a child, for a home, and the cold silence he gave in return. He finally realized that while he was protecting his pride, he had killed the only person who truly loved him. His assistant rushed back, breathless and frantic. "Boss, she's alive." Wild and desperate, he scrambled to his feet, casting aside his dignity, running toward the other terminal. He thinks he has a second chance. He thinks he can catch me. But he doesn't know the woman he is chasing died the moment he forced her hand into that boiling pot. "Run all you want, husband. You're only chasing a shadow." But I didn't stop. I settled into my seat, the engines roaring to life. Freedom was seconds away. Suddenly, the plane lurched, tires screeching against the tarmac. I looked out the window. A black car was racing down the runway, swerving directly into the path of our jet. My phone rang. It was him. "I told you," he panted, his voice vibrating with a terrifying, unhinged madness. "I will do anything to keep you." "You're insane," I screamed. "You'll kill us all." But he didn't care. He slammed on the gas, playing chicken with the Boeing 747, willing to cause a catastrophe just to ground me. He had turned my departure into a hostage situation. The flight attendants rushed to my row, pale and trembling. Miss Lin, the police are demanding you deplane. He had won, not through love, but through pure, unadulterated terror. As my vision blurred and the world tilted sideways, I realized the darkest truth of all.